This video is going to be a quick one this month. I want to briefly address role boundaries. The National Council on Interpreting in Healthcare lists role boundaries as one of their 8 interpreting ethics. Violating this ethic can create conflicts of interest, compromise medical treatment, complicate legal matters, among other negative consequences. Role boundaries can be crossed in one of 2 ways. The first is when the interpreter gets too personally involved with either the client with limited English proficiency or the agency representative that they're interpreting for. The second is when an interpreter engages in professional activity other than interpreting during the encounter. Let me give some do's and don'ts and examples of how role boundary issues can negatively impact LEP individuals, you, and your agency. First, do not reveal overly personal information about yourself during your session. It's not about you. Your job is to facilitate communication in a way that allows the LEP individual and provider to connect. We have seen a host of problems come from these inappropriate, uninterpreted side conversations. Limit your personal involvement with all parties during the interpreting assignment. Second, never give out your cell phone number, email address, or home address. Again, we've seen a host of problems occur when this happens. If someone is pressing you for your contact information, please give them your agency's number and direct all communication to the agency to avoid getting caught in an uncomfortable situation, which could possibly create conflicts of interest. In fact, this recently happened at our agency, and the LEP individual started calling the interpreter directly to cancel and reschedule appointments. That ended up leading to a lot of confusion between multiple agencies. Ultimately, the result was an interruption of services for the LEP individual and unpaid services for our agency and the interpreter. Third, don't give your opinion, even if you're asked for it. When interpreting for child protection services and law enforcement, we're commonly asked what we think about a case or if we think the LEP individual is lying. The best thing to do here is to flip the question and say, "What do you think?" This usually gets you off the hook. We once had a detective ask our interpreter what she thought about an interview. The interpreter gave their opinion, and the officer ended up using that information in part to make his decision. When the criminal case ended up becoming very messy and the detective came under scrutiny, he ended up throwing our interpreter under the bus, which called our company's reputation and quality into question. Fourth, you are not the lawyer, doctor, social worker, police officer. You're the interpreter. Focus on your job, not theirs. Do your job to the best of your ability and let the client do theirs. If you want to be a police officer, a lawyer, a doctor, nurse, social worker, great. Go pursue that degree or job. But when you are interpreting, please be that, an interpreter. Finally, do remain transparent, disappearing into the background and allowing the provider and LEP individual to connect through seamless, unobstructed communication. Let me say it one more time. Do remain transparent, disappearing into the background and allowing the provider and LEP individual to connect through seamless, unobstructed communication. The concepts of being a professional interpreter are not overly complicated, but it is often hard for certain individuals to remain in their role. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a cold, calculated robot to be a good interpreter. I actually have seen that. I've seen linguistically proficient interpreters that were very unfriendly and inflexible. That should not be you either. Clarity interpreters are some of the most warm, friendly interpreters you will find. But our interpreters still stay in an appropriate role. It is possible to be a pleasant, friendly interpreter while keeping appropriate distance and providing quality language services. If you have any questions about this topic, please post those below or you can email us. And remember to like this video and to follow us for more interpreting tips.